Case study, what went wrong? The tiramisu death. There is always a danger, and I'm quoting here from Sterling Crew, president of the Institute of Food Science and Technology, via LinkedIn. And Sterling writes, there is always a danger that compassion fatigue could set in with allergen deaths like this. We could just look at it as a technical exercise in root cause analysis and management controls. Anna Bellisario was a person whose tragic early death will impact family and friends. So many of these cases take the lives of the young just starting their lives. I try to remember that people will be grieving a very personal loss. When Anna Bellisario died last year, she was 20 years old. She had just eaten a spoonful of vegan tiramisu, a creamy Italian dessert usually made with mascarpone cheese, at a vegan burger chain in Milan, Italy. She was allergic to milk protein and egg. Her boyfriend, who was with her in the restaurant when she went into anaphylactic shock, told reporters she was careful about her allergies, which were severe, eating out only rarely, and carefully questioning the restaurant staff before ordering that day. Deaths like this, which are both accidental and preventable, happen far too frequently. Earlier this month, an English court heard how another young person, James Atkinson, aged 23, died after having an anaphylactic reaction to peanuts in pizza. In 2022, I shared the story of Celia Marsh, who died from her milk allergy after eating a sandwich with supposedly dairy-free coconut-based yogurt-style dressing that contained traces of milk protein. There are doubtless dozens more incidents like this which don't end up in news reports or law courts every week. No wonder my food safety colleagues are worried about compassion fatigue. What went wrong? The court findings from Celia Marsh's case found that a starch-based ingredient in the dairy-free coconut yogurt used to make the dressing on the sandwich contained traces of milk protein due to cross-contamination during its manufacture. The yogurt manufacturer had documents that flagged this risk, said the coroner, but the information was not passed on. The investigation into James Atkinson's death found he had not informed the restaurant of his peanut allergy before ordering the food, but had instead researched likely ingredients in certain foods before eating the pizza. High levels of allergens. In the case of Anna Bellisario, Italian newspapers reported that prosecutors are expected to charge the makers of the tiramisu with negligent cooperation in the murder. And that is equivalent to manslaughter of the young woman. One Italian news report claimed the vegan dessert had been made with tiramisu, while another report quoted the prosecutor as saying it contained a high quantity of allergenic proteins from cow's milk, in particular caseins. Other supposedly vegan foods at the Milan restaurant included mayonnaise and mustard containing egg proteins. Critical food safety failings. Investigators allege they found multiple critical food safety issues at the Milanese company which made the tiramisu and sold it to the restaurant where Anna dined. The investigating judge, Fiammetta Motica, described a worrying picture of unscrupulousness. Allegations of food safety problems include vegan and non-vegan products made on the same table at the same time, mixing up of ingredients of animal and vegetable origin, such as confusing mascarpone with plant-based ingredients, inadequate training for workers. Italian food safety authorities ordered the vegan tiramisu product recalled after the incident. The owners of the company, which also supplied 63 other restaurants, have been banned from operating a business for 1 year in addition to facing manslaughter charges. They also face legal action by the restaurant for personal and reputational damages. Celia and Anna both died after eating vegan foods that contained animal proteins. Such deaths are horrible and preventable, but sadly we can expect more of them because of the confusing regulatory situation. Right now, most food regulatory systems do not demand or expect food manufacturers to ensure vegan labelled food is completely free from traces of animal proteins. In the United Kingdom, Anaphylaxis UK was calling for a robust system to ensure the absence of allergenic animal proteins in food marketed as vegan after the investigation into Celia's death concluded in 2022. Experts disagree about whether vegan-labelled foods should be allowed to contain traces of animal protein from unintentional sources. Some say yes, as long as may contain statements are present and accurate, supported by regulatory and industry bodies that reiterate vegan does not mean allergen-free. Other experts say no, arguing that consumers understand vegan to mean a food that's completely free from any trace of animal product. Consumers are frustrated. They say it's ridiculous for the label on a vegan food to say may contain traces of milk, egg, and fish. I'm inclined to agree. I'm not alone. I've heard of one food company's decision to remove vegan claims from a product when the specification sheet for an ingredient stated it was made on the same production line as milk-containing ingredients and couldn't be guaranteed to contain no traces of milk. So, should consumers understand the difference between vegan and allergen-free? Consumers can be forgiven if they don't understand the difference between vegan and allergen-free because even some food businesses don't understand. I've heard of a new food manufacturer that thought vegan was the same as vegetarian, a mistake which thankfully got caught before production started. Even vegan restaurants can get it wrong. A consumer said she tasted milk in a vegan smoothie at a vegan eatery, with the food preparer saying they thought goat's milk was okay for vegans because it's not cow's milk. One wonders why there was even any type of animal milk in a vegan eatery. Anna Bellisario knew the difference between vegan and allergen-free, but that didn't save her. She did not assume that food at the vegan restaurant where she last dined would be completely free from milk or eggs, asking the restaurant for a list of allergens before she ordered. For her, the information was wrong, and she died. So sad. Takeaways for food professionals. While it's not necessarily against the law to sell vegan food that contains traces of allergens, the presence of animal proteins in foods where they're not expected poses serious risk to allergic consumers. Food companies are expected to protect consumers from risk and act with due diligence. Companies that don't exercise due diligence can be prosecuted for negligence, as is expected for the manufacturer of the dessert that killed Anna Bellisario. Companies in the supply chain of the sandwich that killed Celia Marsh were not diligent about communicating allergen risks to their consumers. The manufacturer of the dessert that killed Anna Bellisario has been accused of being insufficiently diligent with their manufacturing processes. The owners of the company are expected to be charged with manslaughter and have been banned from operating a business as well as facing litigation. When food businesses are not sufficiently diligent, consumers die, and that's not something that any business or food professional wants. In short, courts have heard that a purportedly vegan dessert which caused the death of an allergic consumer contained higher levels of milk proteins. The owners of the company that manufactured the dessert are expected to be charged with manslaughter. Prosecutors allege serious critical failings at the manufacturer's premises, including poor or non-existent separation of vegan and non-vegan products during manufacture, confusion from staff about which ingredients were of animal or vegetable origin, inadequate training for workers. Regulations do not define whether vegan-labelled foods must be allergen-free, and that is the case in many jurisdictions. From a regulatory perspective, all food businesses, including restaurants and food manufacturers, must exercise sufficient care, which we call due diligence, to protect consumers. When businesses fail to exercise due diligence, consumers die. And there are two links for more reading if you're interested. One is a discussion from Food Manufacturer UK asking whether we need a new vegan definition to protect consumers. And I've also included a link to guidance from the Food and Drink Federation of the UK about allergen-free and vegan claims. And of course, there are sources for everything that I have said in the email and the post.